their attention. You can do it verbally. You can also do it in writing. That's one of the secrets to good writers by the time you're all done. If you ever watch some of the great writers, okay, James Patterson, okay, you may like him or don't like him, but go through, if you have a chance, read one of his books or just pick it up off the shelf. His opening sentence to every chapter grabs you. He also has a closing sentence of every chapter that grabs you too, to the point that you have to read the next chapter to make certain you're catching by the time it's, because he winds them together. He grabs your attention in the process. You need to start looking on that and maybe try to duplicate some of that. The most important thing you can do is have a topic sentence at the beginning of each and every paragraph. I recommend all students, when you get a textbook, that you go through the textbook, and I write in my textbooks. It's a tool that I use to work. If I'm going to be successful, I write in them in the process. I know if you try to resell them, that could be damaging, but to be frank, a lot of used textbooks I get, I look for people that wrote stuff in it because I think they may have focus on some things that I might miss. But what I do is I go through the book, I take a yellow highlighter and I highlight the topic sentence of every paragraph. Now that means that as I go through to review, getting ready for a test, I go through, I read the page, I read the topic sentence. If I don't remember the contents of what the topic sentence talks about, then I go back, I read the entire thing. That's how I study. And really, if you have a writer that does a good job and they write a good, solid topic sentence, that's exactly how it should be. And then underneath that, you sit down and you write support sentence to strengthen what you set there and approached in the very first sentence in the process. In this class, you really need to focus in on writing good topic sentence. Grab the attention of the reader as you go through. It should explain the central thought and what almost, it's a prelude to what you're about to say on the inside and inside that paragraph. And then as you're inside the paragraph, you're providing the details and evidences. That top sentence, that topic sentence, that is the top that covers the whole aspect of what you're talking about as you go through. These are support statements. This is the main statement as you go through. That's what we call it, the topic sentence as you go through. To build paragraph coherence, link the ideas using these different aspects or techniques we call them. Sustain the key idea by repeating the key expression or a similar word throughout the paragraph as you go through. Repetition captures the attention as you go through the process. A lot of times, even a public speaker, you'll hear them say a really profound thought. Let me practice. Profound thought. Profound thought. Let's talk about the profound thought. When you do that, you're emphasizing the profound thought time and again, the same thing that should occur in your writing. Dovetail the sentences by connecting the beginning of each new sentence with a word at the end of the previous one. That really helps too. Glue them together so it flows as you go through. Use a pronoun in one sentence and a noun in the next one. Mix it up. We already talked about mixing it up. When you mix words up, mix sentence structure types up, have different parallels as you go through in the process, those make your writing so much better in the process. It even should roll over into your speech as to how you go about talking as you go through. Use transitional effects. Here are some transition things to add to it. Additionally, again, also, likewise, okay, consequently, as a result, these show the cause and effect. Then, consequently, this, as a result, this, for this reason, okay, we're going to do this. Therefore, we do this to suggest control. By conversely, on the contrary, on the other hand, we have these different phrases here, and you'll sit down and know about this is only a slide with a few of them in. Think about the ones you can use on top of that to show time or order. After, before, earlier, finally, to clarify. For example, in other words, for instance, I mean, to contradict. Well, actually, however, instead, rather, I enjoy our discussions in the class. It's always interesting how many students always in the discussions, because you have to do a post and then you have to respond to two other students. Everybody's always says, I agree with you. It's pretty rare you say, I don't agree with you between the students. But those are always the more interesting conversations as you go through. So, but let's go through here on the paragraph length. Just like we talked about with sentences, 8-word sentences, people retain them pretty much 100%. Okay, when you get longer, you start losing the cohesiveness, you start losing the concentration of the reader, but probably the writer too. Paragraphs of 8 or a few printed lines are most readable. You want to have short paragraphs. Here, let me give you a true confession. If you send me an email that goes past one screen, I'm probably not going to read it. I'm going to scan it because I have a short attention span. Who wants to read all that? If you want to sit down and make a point with me on email, use active voice, because this is the business class. Oh yeah, business. Okay, the voice of business is active voice. The same thing with paragraphs. Keep them short. Grab their attention. And once your communication is in front of them, make them interested so they want to hear what you have to say. Take care.